You should know advanced graphic designers see their work differently. And today, I'm going to show you how to think more like an advanced designer right now in 2025. A big one is micro versus macro thinking. Beginners tend to stay zoomed in. They're adjusting type sizes, obsessing over curves, nudging things by 0.5 pixels. That's micro level thinking, and yeah, it does matter, but advanced designers constantly switch between micro and macro. They will finesse a heading and then zoom out and think about how that layout plays across mobile, print, and social media. They will ask, does this align with the brand's or the client's wider message? Can it scale? Will this still work in 6 months across different countries? But let's touch on something less glamorous but just as important, and that's professional file structure. And the pro tip coming up in this section is something that really helped me in my career, and it helped me advance to that higher level of design skill. This is one of those things that doesn't show up on Behance, but it builds trust with clients very, very fast. I'm talking about naming your layers properly, organizing files into clean folders, structuring smart objects, and setting up documents that anyone on a team can understand. I once worked on a campaign that passed through designers, editors, developers, and print vendors. And because I structured the files properly from day one, everyone's job was actually easier thereafter. And that's not just being organized, it's being professional. And a pro tip here is that before you deliver any design file, do a stranger test. Pretend someone who's never seen your project needs to jump in and just finish it fast or work on something in that project. Could they understand everything without asking you a single question? Well, to make that happen or to help that happen, name your layers clearly, group by function, not just appearance, and importantly, add a top folder called README with notes, fonts, color codes, and export instructions. It will take literally 5 extra minutes, but it makes you look like someone who's worked in real teams and real studios. Because pros don't just design, they think about the people after them. Another advanced skill in graphic design is design that anticipates. It's really, really important. This is where you create for the future, not just the now. It's like playing chess, a graphic design version of chess. You're not designing the homepage, you're designing for 3 moves ahead. And when a client asks for a logo, a junior designer might deliver something that works for today's website, but a pro creates a mark that holds up in motion on merchandise in 3D, even possibly AR. And a great example of this in the real world is the 2020 rebrand of Burger King. The design team didn't just update the logo for menus and packaging. They crafted a full identity that worked across TikTok, animations, 3D rendered ads, digital signage, and retro-inspired merchandise. Even the typography and the illustration style was built to scale across everything from mobile apps to billboards to Instagram. The whole system was designed with future content in mind, not just the original launch. And a pro tip here is that when you're designing something like a logo, ask yourself, can it survive animation? Can it be embroidered? Does it still communicate at the size of a favicon? And if not, it's not ready for the real world, let alone the future. Ever find yourself jumping back and forth between your design software and your references? That's simply frustrating, and of course, as a designer, that's going to slow you down. Brilliant.design fixes that. It's a lightweight macOS app that gives you a transparent, floating canvas you can place over any application on your screen. And that's so your design and your reference materials live in the same space. Unlike traditional design tools that keep you stuck in a boxed-in workspace, Brilliant lets you design directly over what's already on your screen. You can reference, design, and adjust in real time without switching tabs or even taking screenshots. It gives you full context, always. It also has an infinite canvas system, which means unlimited boards, folders, and creative freedom. You can group ideas together, switch between projects instantly, and visually manage complex work without clutter. And above all else, it's fast. And since it's a native macOS app, it launches instantly. It stays light when inactive, and it comes packed with pro-level tools like precision alignment, snapping, layering, and more. Whether you're designing interfaces, creating presentations, or even teaching as a designer, Brilliant changes the way you interact with digital content. It also integrates directly with Figma and Sketch, so you're never locked out of your existing workflow. And you can use the code Satori for 30% off, and that's available for the first 100 people, and that ends this May. Another big one is designing for emotion, not just aesthetics. And if you think you know about emotion already in graphic design, don't worry, because we're going to add some things onto it here and talk about things in a way maybe you haven't heard before. Now, a beginner might say, this looks good, but a pro will say, this feels right. Every design you make should start with the question, what do I want the viewer to feel? Calm, urgency, perhaps joy or trust. Then you reverse engineer everything. So colors, type choices, images, spacing, everything to evoke that emotion. A great example of this is Headspace, the meditation app. Every part of the design, the soft colors, the rounded typography, playful illustrations, gentle animations, they all work together to make the users feel safe, relaxed, and welcome. It's not just pretty, it's emotionally intentional. They could have gone minimal and sleek, but instead they leaned into warmth and softness because that's the feeling they want to deliver with the design. And a pro tip here is that the next time you start a project, write down one core emotion that you want the viewer to feel. Not two, not five, just one. Then audit every design decision against that emotion. Does the color support it? Does the font reinforce it? If anything feels neutral or off, you have to rethink things. Designs that win hearts aren't made by accident, they're engineered around feeling. Next, visual language systems. A design is not just a style, it's a language. And advanced designers create systems, not just one-off assets. That means setting rules around motion, color, iconography, typography, and how these elements shift depending on the medium and the audience. And your pro tip here is to take your brand or your client's visuals, so the logo, colors, type, maybe a few icons, and try applying them to 3 very different formats. Maybe a social media post, a slide in a pitch deck, and then a product mock-up, for example. If it still looks and feels the same brand across all 3, your visual system is doing a great job. If it falls apart and looks inconsistent, it's not a system, it's just a style. And that right there is the difference that advanced graphic designers actually understand. And here's a mindset shift for you. Pre-mortem thinking. So before you send the final design, stop and ask yourself, where could this go wrong? Could this logo be misread? Would the color palette work on various different backgrounds? Does the type still function on tiny mobile screens? The truth is that advanced designers don't wait for failure to happen. They test for it before the launch. And this does relate back to what we've said earlier, but this saves everyone time and it makes you look like a strategist, not just a service provider. Now, this way of thinking truly makes you more of an advanced designer, and ultimately it will relieve a lot of stress in your workflow. And finally, the most important shift. Stop thinking like a freelancer. Start thinking like a consultant of sorts. Instead of asking, what design do you want? Ask, what's the real problem we're solving here? That one question, it changes the entire dynamic. Now, you're not just delivering assets, you're offering solutions. You're not just being paid for time, you're being paid for thinking. That's how advanced designers win. They lead with insight, not just execution. And if you want to continue with the advanced side of your design career, check out logodesignprocess.com, where I have PDF guides and courses and a whole heaps of things all related to graphic design. But if you want to continue your educational journey as a graphic designer right now, just click that link or that video on screen, and until next time guys, design your future today. Peace.